Ho, Spider-Man 1991 here, and it's time for my weekly comic book review. This week, the comic books came out a day early on Christmas Eve, December 24th, because this Wednesday is Christmas Day. So pretty much a day early. So pretty much the comics came out a day early, even though it was a light week again because it's Christmas. But still, we got new comic books this week. I didn't do a review last week because last week I got a really bad cold sometime around, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday, and I was and I'm just like, I started recovering like a few days ago, but like it was stopped up nose, sore throat, and I was like barely able to talk and stuff, so I decided to skip the review. So I decided to, since I was only getting 2 comics this week, I decided to just save the comics from last week and review them this week as just kind of a special sort of double 2-week comic review in one video. That's kind of my Christmas present for you, the viewers, this holiday season. Please enjoy it. Let's get things started. First, I'm going to review the 2 comics that I did get this week because they're DC, and last week I only got 1 DC title, so DC Comics will be going first. So this week I got Forever Evil number 4. Pretty much, this is the issue where Batman and Luthor's team meet in this issue. The issue starts off with both. And when I say Batman's team, it's really just him and Catwoman. Pretty much, they go to the Batcave to collect Batman's fail-safes that he has for the Justice League, and pretty much, which we saw back in Justice League number 17, the Kryptonite Ring, and we'll also learn about the other fail-safes he had for Green Lantern, Flash, Cyborg. So that he could use so he brings those to the party since we have their evil counterparts, Grid, Power Ring, and Johnny Quick. However, though, since he doesn't have anything for Wonder Woman and Earth 3's version of Aquaman, the Sea King, died, they don't really need to bring those. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor's team, who's just like started to kind of get their act together, Luthor's pretty much revived Black Adam, although he still has a broken jaw, and also Captain Cole is able to rebuild his cold gun. They head over to Wayne Enterprises, and when they break into Wayne Enterprises, they run into Batman and Catwoman, and the reason that Batman and Catwoman are there is because Batman's hoping to find a power source to help power up the mother box he has, which is his failsafe against Cyborg, or in this case, Grid. But right when both teams arrive in Wayne Enterprises, Power Ring of the Crime Syndicate arrives along with the sort of team of supervillains he collected to help him go out, because basically Power Ring is a whimpering coward, and so Batman has to use his failsafe that he had for Green Lantern, which was a Sinestro Corps ring. So pretty much we got the brief return of Sinestro Corps Lantern Batman in this issue. And when I say brief, it was really brief, because that ring, because even when Batman first got the ring in the issue, he said that it was really low on power, and it just went to 0 like that. But however, though, good news, the ring did actually have a positive effect, because it summoned Sinestro, but back to Earth, and that's where the issue ends. Okay, so we're pretty much halfway through Forever Evil at this point. It's 7 issues. We are at issue 4. This is pretty much the climax issue. And when I say, well, not climax in a big way, it's just that this is the point where we have our sort of protagonists come together in this. And this is kind of where the whole injustice, and from here, this is where the villains agree to work with Batman to help end the crime syndicate. And also, Sinestro arrives again in this issue, who we haven't seen since the end of Jeff Johns' run on Green Lantern back in Green Lantern issue 20. So, and again, Sinestro has the power of Parallax infused with him. Sorry. Yeah, but pretty much this was another good issue. I thought it was also interesting how Power Ring's ring was still strong against Batman's Sinestro Corps ring, although to be fair, Power Ring's ring was heavier charged than Batman's ring. Also, we do still have we haven't forgotten of the other members of the Crime Syndicate, because in this issue, while pretty much we have the Power Ring dealing with the remaining heroes, Superwoman goes to talk to Ultraman, and she tells Ultraman that Owlman went to spoke with Dick Grayson in private and is trying to convince Dick Grayson to join his side. And when she tells Ultraman this, Ultraman discovers that Superwoman is pregnant, and Superwoman claims that the child is his. So now we're not, because back in issue 2 of Forever Evil, she told Owlman that the child was his. So obviously Superwoman's trying to run her own game here. So what does she want to do? Does she want Ultraman to take out Owlman, or vice versa, or does she want both of them to take each other out? That's the thing. No. So pretty much, it seems like ultimately the Crime Syndicate's defeat may come from within, and that they cannot, and ultimately that this whole event may lead to them turning against each other. That's just a theory I have. But yeah, Forever Evil, still awesome, very nice. There is also a moment in this where Lex Luthor has to convince Bizarro to kind of carry on with him, and he explains to Bizarro how he had a sick sister, and Bizarro pretty much, and how he failed to save her because he didn't do anything because he was afraid to fail, and ultimately he did, and that's pretty much one of the reasons that drives Lex Luthor to this day, and that kind of gives Bizarro the will to try. Yeah, so that was a nice moment with Lex Luthor. Very interesting in that, for once, I believe I actually in a while, I actually sympathize with Lex Luthor. Oh man, why am I struggling to say that word? Anyways, so that was an amazing point in this issue. Yeah, overall, I would say Forever Evil, very awesome event. Pretty much, it's only about $4 a month. I say get it. It's worth it. Very awesome. Okay, and the other comic I got this week was Justice League number 26, and yes, this does tie into Forever Evil. There's no real order you need to read these two in, because you can kind of go either way. I read Justice League number 26 before Forever Evil number 4, but I digress. But Justice League number 26, pretty much what's been going on in this title is we begin origins for the members of the Crime Syndicate. 2 issues ago we got Ultraman's origin. Last issue we got Owlman's origin. Now we're getting almost everyone else's. Pretty much the framing device is its grid reviewing all the files about the Crime Syndicate members. He learns that on Earth 3, Hal Jordan was this whimpering coward who pretty much spied on Carol Ferris and sold secrets about Ferris aircraft to their competitors. And he was given the Power Ring, which rather than the user wielding the ring, it's more like the ring uses the user to kind of feed off their energy or something. I mean, it doesn't kill them, but it like really messes with them, which you see in the way that Avengers of Earth 3 is drawn in this issue. And also the ring is related to the from the antagonist in the last Jeff Johns Green Lantern arc, Volthoom, so it's related to that in some way. Also, we learned that Johnny Quick and Atomica were once Johnny Allen and Rhonda Pineda, who were pretty much like a Bonnie and Clyde of Earth 3. They were pretty much criminals, killers. Ultimately, though, they got their powers one night when they were on the run and they were standing on the roof of a Star Labs facility, and lightning struck the roof. It pretty much gave Johnny his speed powers, and knocked Rhonda through a couple of windows, where she wound up in a lab which was holding a subject known as Ray Palmer, and that's obviously what led to her, and that the lightning somehow may have transferred some of his size-changing abilities to her. So yeah, we got like a brief mention of Ray Palmer. That was very nice, and pretty much Professor Deathstorm just got reduced to 1 page. Pretty much we learned that Deathstorm wanted to unlock the secrets of life by studying dead people. But he wanted to study the secrets of life through death, and ultimately that led to him his experiments, which he performed on himself, and a corpse apparently allowed him to fuse and become the being known as Deathstorm, which is this sort of being that's both alive and dead at the same time. And when Grid and those are pretty much the only members we get any insight into. When Grid tries to access Superwoman, any files on Superwoman, he discovers that they've all been deleted. And it is interesting to know how Grid thinks in this issue, because he says that he was with Victor Stone since he became Cyborg, and he's pretty much been in the back of Victor's head for a while. He says that he's pretty much all the mechanical knowledge, all the computer stuff behind Cyborg, whereas Victor was just the emotions. And now that he's separated from Victor Stone, he just feels empty. Like, he feels absolutely nothing at all. Like, he tries to and now Grid's just trying to feel something on his own, but he can't because he's just basically a machine. Also, back in Star Labs, Victor Stone finally starts to recover from his from having all his cybernetic body parts being ripped from him, and it says that next issue will get Cyborg 2.0. All right. Pretty much, we got some more origins for the Crime Syndicate members. Everyone, pretty much all the remaining Syndicate members except for Superwoman. There wasn't really much detail they could go into, although I gotta say, we only got one page about Deathstorm. I think that was probably cutting it a little short with that. I mean, granted, yeah, they probably didn't want to do full-sized issues, because, I mean, obviously Owlman and Ultraman are the big players here, but maybe they're saving Superwoman for, I guess, next issue, I guess, because obviously, like I said, with what happened in Forever Evil #4, Superwoman's kind of running her own thing right now. She's not... Originally, I think a lot of people thought she was with Owlman, but now it feels like but then she tells Ultraman about, she's but when Ultraman finds out she's pregnant, she tries to tell him that the kid's hers. So I think she's trying to manipulate Ultraman and Owlman into either having one destroy the other or destroying both. So Superwoman is a very interesting character. So I think now we're starting to get the idea that Superwoman may go off and do her own thing against Ultraman and Owlman in this issue. But yeah, still pretty much the Justice League title right now. It's a Forever Evil tie-in, and I think it's the best tie-in because it gives you more information about who these invaders from Earth 3 are. Where their backgrounds, kind of what motivates them in a way. So I think it's been very... I mean, Jeff Johns is doing a great job on Justice League with these Forever Evil tie-ins. I think it's great we're getting the origins of the Crime Syndicate members. I do wish we did get a little more detailed with some of them, because most of the origins in this are just... Power Ring got the longer origin in this, but Johnny Quick and Deathstorm, they were like 2 or 1 page. So I wish we could have gotten a little bit more about that. But anyways, that's just me. But overall, Justice League #26 is definitely a buy if you're getting Forever Evil. If not, then you can skip Justice League. Okay, now we're getting into the comics I bought last week. Starting with Animal Man #26. Buddy Baker, where last left off, was transported to an alien planet. Well, after he defeats this giant monster on the planet, it turns out that all the other beings that were being attacked, it turns out that he meets this being known as the Bridgewalker, who states that he brought a lot of Avatar champions of both the red and the green from other planets, because apparently the red and the green don't just extend on Earth, they pretty much extend almost everywhere, almost every other planet in the universe. The Bridgewalker brought them here to see who would be the supreme one, and of course it was Buddy. And the Bridgewalker wants Buddy to take his place to guard the planet that they're on, which is the Seed planet, which is sort of like the center of all life in the universe. And of course Buddy's like, no, I gotta go back, I have to save my family. But the Bridgewalker says, okay, you know what, I'm dying, however, I'll send you back to Earth to help your family, but on one condition. The minute you're done, I need you to come back here and take my place and train to be the next Bridgewalker. And Buddy's like, fine, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I just need to save my family. And pretty much the Bridgewalker sends Buddy back to Earth, more specifically into the Red, where Buddy discovers Brother Blood is in charge. Okay, well, at least we got like a practical explanation as to why Buddy's on an alien planet. Because at the end of Animal Man number 25, I was just kind of like, what the hell just happened? Like, the alien teleporting to an alien planet was just kind of the most random thing to me out of Animal Man. And so when it happened, I was kind of like, huh? Now we got an explanation. It's a little bit reasonable. And also, I think this has given us an idea as to how Animal Man, the title, will actually end. Because Animal Man is going to end in March with issue number 29. So I think after this battle with Brother Blood, if Buddy is able to pretty much able to save his family, and also I think they're kind of hinting that he may revive his son Cliff, that after that Buddy will have to go back and become the Bridge Walker, and that's where it's going to end. So, and it may either be Buddy's going to have to leave his family on Earth because he thinks that's where they'll be safest. This way they won't be. This way, you know, if he's targeted, they'll be fine on Earth, or he's going to take them with him to the other planet, to the seed planets that they can be together in peace. I think one of those two things is going to happen, but it will end with Buddy being on the seed planet. That's something I'm calling. But yeah, Animal Man is one of the best. It's really one of the best titles on here. I mean, Jeff Lemire has been killing it on this title since the first issue. I really would recommend you get this title while it's still in production, or wait for the trades. You know, either way, but this series is definitely a buy. Okay, now it's time for Marvel with Young Avengers number 14. This is pretty much the after party issue. Yeah, that's actually... Oh, no, it's called Resolution. I thought it was called After Party. Anyways, this is the after party for the Young Avengers and all the other teenage heroes of the Marvel Universe who are celebrating, woohoo, we did it, we saved the world from Mother, let's have a party. And also during this issue, we learn a little bit more about Miss America, because apparently when she was a little girl on her home dimension, apparently in her home dimension, Billy Wiccan, or the Demi-Merge now, was one of the greatest heroes in her dimension, and she really looked up to him, she idolized him, and now that she's got the chance to meet him, she's kind of surprised that he's sort of just a regular kid like her and stuff. Also, at the end of this issue, Tommy, Billy's brother, aka Speed, shows up without any explanation and starts hanging out with Kate Bishop. And so yeah, that's pretty much what happens. Okay, yeah, at this point I'm just collecting I'm just getting Young Avengers so I can kind of fill in the rest of the series, because I did start collecting this since the first issue. Has this title really been worth it? Not really, no. I would say for Young Avengers, get the first trade, and if you like it, maybe get the second one, but if you don't, then I say skip it. Or better yet, just get the first issue. If you like that, stick with it. Stick with it for the first story arc. But overall, I would say Young Avengers isn't really as great as it was in the past. I would say Kieron Gillen's writing was its strongest when he was writing for Loki. However, Loki is not in this issue, so that's really a downgrade for me. But yeah, also Tommy showing up without any explanation. I hope we get into it next issue just to fill in the plot hole, because otherwise I would say that this entire title was just like he just shows up without any explanation, and it's no reference to fake patriot or anything, but Kate's just happy he's there and they start dancing, that's it. But yeah, honestly, I would say Young Avengers overall just either get the first issue or get the first trade and see how you like it before deciding to get the rest of the series. Alright, now Scarlet Spider, number 25. Pretty much right after the way the last issue ended, which was Kane's suite at the Four Seasons getting destroyed. Pretty much after that, Kane ends up fighting Shathra, and while he fights her, he ends up going to into this his monstrous other form, and when he does that and kills and is able to kill, he terrifies the people of Houston, and not just the spectators watching, but also his friend Wally, his lady friend, well, his now ex-lady friend Annabelle, and it terrifies everyone. And at that moment, Kane kind of realizes that Kane decides to just leave Houston, and like pretty much Wally just tells him like, we're glad you saved us, but I think it's best if you leave. And Kane agrees with that, and he says like, that's it, I'm done, I'm no hero. And after that, for the next week, we pretty much get Kane traveling Mexico with Arclay before pretty much living in Mexico with Arclay before the issue ends with him and Arclay just kind of sitting on the beach watching the tide come in. Yeah, this issue kind of flashed back and forth between what happened a week later with Arclay and Kane in Mexico, and also how Kane ultimately left Houston. So, Kane kind of saw himself as Kane kind of became the monster again, and when he did this, he just decided, okay, that's it, I'm done. I'm not a hero. I don't even know what I was thinking, and he heads to Mexico. And also, this is the last issue of Scarlet Spider. Just start off with that. Anyways, but yeah, pretty much, I think Kane does need a break. Alright, if you saw the announcement, Kane will be reappearing as the Scarlet Spider in the New Warriors title, which is, I believe, coming out either February or March. And but for now, pretty much he went through a lot. Kane, with this last story arc, he went through a lot. He had his closest friends and loved ones since he moved to Houston and began his new life, tortured by Kraven the Hunter and his daughter, and one of his friends almost died, and because of that, it made Wally want to kill Kane, and then that led into the events of last issue involving Shathra, and ultimately Kane did give into his mom, and that was something Kane was struggling with for most of the series, whether he was the man or the monster, and he gave into the monster again, and when he did that and terrified everyone, he just realized, that's it, I'm done, I'm not a hero, I don't even know what I was thinking, and heads down to Mexico to retire. But something's going to cause him to rejoin the New Warriors. I don't know what it is. This book, pretty much the only hint that we have about Kane joining the New Warriors is just at the end with the letter from Christophe saying, check out Kane and New Warriors #1 coming soon. But yeah, for now, I would say this issue did feel very conclusive. It didn't have anything open-ended. It was just pretty much saying that Kane tried his hardest to be a hero, but ultimately it was too much for him, and now he's chilling in Mexico. So yeah, I think it really was difficult for Kane. It was a big characterization change because originally he was a supervillain, but ultimately after helping Peter with Spider Island, he became a hero. He sort of became a hero in his own right, and he took up the mantle of the Scarlet Spider. But ultimately, though, things just didn't work out for Kane, and he decided to retire. So I do like the conclusive feeling of this, even though I know Kane is going to be in New Warriors. But yeah, I would say if you enjoyed Scarlet Spider, but you haven't picked it up in a while, but if you liked the beginning of Scarlet Spider, but then eventually dropped it, I would say get this last story arc when it comes out in trade, because it was very good. It sort of pretty much drove Kane to the limit and just made him realize that he tried his hardest, but ultimately he couldn't really be a hero as much as Spider-Man or the first Scarlet Spider, and so now he's just kind of retired for now. Ultimately, Scarlet Spider, the last story arc, and this last issue, definitely a buy. Alright, next up, Uncanny Avengers, number 15. All of Earth's mutants have been raptured to the planet to the ark that the Apocalypse Twins have made. Meanwhile, Captain America tries to attack the Apocalypse Twins but fails, and Thor and Wasp are are able to destroy the Horseman version of the Sentry, but ultimately they fail because when Captain America does make it to the Apocalypse Twins, Exitar, the Celestial Executioner, shows up, and he's pretty much there to judge Earth after Thor's actions, which was creating an axe that could kill a Celestial. If you remember, Kang the Conqueror went back in time and convinced Thor to enchant his axe, Yabergorn. I hope I'm saying that right. He enchanted his axe to be able to kill a Celestial, in this case, Apocalypse. And because of that action was considered a sort of violation of universal law or nature, the Celestial Executioner has come to Earth to pass judgment, and it does not go well because he gives Earth a big thumbs down. And that's where the issue ends. So, Uncanny Avengers number 15. It was a pretty decent issue. Very interesting to see Captain America. Pretty much all of the mutants from Earth have been transported onto the Apocalypse Twins arc thing because they want to save mutant kind, and it really is interesting to see. I thought the scene with Captain America realizing that he's failed was a pretty good scene. Just the way he looked and it captured the artist captured his emotions was great. Also, I did like the fight between Thor and Wasp when they fight the Sentry. That was pretty fun. But right now, the Apocalypse Twins story arc we're in is dragging on a lot. Thinking about it, we've only had maybe on Uncanny Avengers maybe 1 or 2 story arcs, and we're still in the second or the third one, and it's issue 15 already. So, I kind of feel like, yeah, this is pretty decent work, but when are we going to get to the ending? Seriously, just because I think Rick Remender is really dragging it out with this, and I really hope we get to a conclusion soon. But for now, I would say Uncanny Avengers is something that you should wait for the trade. Alright, next up, all new X-Men number 20. The team has brought X-23 back to their base, back to Cyclops' X-Men's base, which is the former Weapon X project, with X-23. And pretty much X-23 officially joins the team with this issue. Jean Grey does briefly read her mind about what happened to her in the past month with Avengers Arena. And I say briefly, we don't get to see it on panel, but Jean looks in her mind and she's really terrified by it. And Kate tells her to stop right there, and so Jean just stops. And X-23 agrees to join their team and also lead them to this new group of purifiers, which are apparently led by William Stryker's son. And so pretty much the all new X-Men with their new member X-23 are able to track down the Purifier's base. They show up, they start kicking ass, and then suddenly Stryker's son activates some sort of special ability he has to knock with some weird light that knocks them all out. And that's where the issue ends. Okay, yeah, all new X-Men number 20 was, I think if you're an X-23 fan, you should definitely give this issue a shot, especially if you like. And also, if you liked Avengers Arena and you want to know what's going to happen to some of these characters, then I'd say start reading All New X-Men. Read this story arc to see if you like X-23 with this team. So that's a good jumping on point. Also, the Purifiers. The Purifiers are an interesting group because they are humans who hate mutants. Again, that's not, but they believe that the work they're doing is God's will. So they pretty much want to go after mutants because of some weird religious belief, and so that's what makes them interesting villains. I would say overall, if you're an X-23 fan, I would say give this issue a shot. If not, wait for the trade, because All New X-Men, I do love it. I'm an original X-Men fan, so I enjoy it. But for everyone else, I'd say at best, if you don't want to get every issue, then just wait for the trade to come out. Okay, next up, Daredevil number 34. Once again, another hit by Mark Waid on this title. Daredevil, Matt pretty much goes, basically tells Kristen McDuffie, a girl he's his sort of new female friend who they've had back and forth, but she knows he's Daredevil. He's like, I'm not Daredevil, back off, Kristen. But with this book, he kind of tells her that, yeah, you're right, I am Daredevil, and I need your help with this. And so, basically, Daredevil makes a broadcast to the Serpent Society, letting them know that, yeah, I have pretty much your whole hidden Bible of tombs, your whole ancient tome here. And if you don't believe me, he says the name of some special demon that they worship or something, and when he does it, he pretty much tells him, okay, either you give up the Jester and attach from this bridge by 3 o'clock, or I burn your book. And so the Serpents agree. They leave the Jester at the location Daredevil requested, and when Daredevil goes to go get the Jester and also deal with the Serpents thugs, some other Serpent squads who have again infiltrated pretty much different New York City organizations like the courthouse and the New York City Police. One of them gets ready to take out Kristen McDuffie with a sniper rifle when Daredevil's over there, and the reason they do it is because while Matt's going to get the Jester, Kristen kind of goes off book and tells people, like, beware of people who may actually be in the Serpent Society and stuff. And they get ready to take her out, and Matt hurries back after he gets the Jester and drops him off at police station to go. He has to find Kristen quickly. Fortunately, though, after they take the shot, Kristen is saved at the last minute by Matt's old friend, who we saw a couple of issues ago, Nate Hackman. Yeah, I have the stuff written down here. It's a really long list because I'm doing 2 weeks. Yeah, pretty much Matt's old friend Nate, who he got to help him out with this, saves Kristen, and when Daredevil's able to take out the sniper, and he meets with Kristen, and they do have an almost moment when they're interrupted by a phone call, which is from Foggy's nurse that say that things have taken a turn for the worst. And that's where the issue ends. So yeah, so again, this issue was awesome. All right, if you've been reading Daredevil since this whole Serpent Society story arc has been given, this was a really great issue. Okay, Daredevil finally gets the edge on them. He gets them to pretty much hand over the Jester, who's pretty much been helping them in a way, and he takes care of the Jester. And also, pretty much this moment of accomplishment. And what really makes this issue great is that even when Daredevil wins it, he gets this moment of accomplishment against his foes. All the tone of that is immediately changed with just one phone call, which is about his best friend who has been diagnosed with cancer, which just really changes everything right there. And also, we're only 2 issues left until this series ends, which is really a shame. But hey, Mark Waid is bringing the title back with a new #1. I believe coming out in March for an all new Daredevil. Although given the way things have been going for Foggy, I think I know how this volume of Daredevil will end. But yeah, Daredevil again by Mark Waid. It's been an amazing title. Great writing, great how it's able to transition between a moment of triumph to a moment of tragedy. I say this all the time when I review this book, but yeah, Daredevil is definitely buy. Either a single issue or trade, whatever you want, just get this book. It's awesome. Alright, next up, my last comic is Superior Spider-Man number 24. Where we last left, Otto Octavius, he just recently got attached to the Venom symbiote. And when he gets attached to the symbiote, he declares himself the Superior Venom, and he goes on an anti-crime spree. He just goes out correcting almost every crime the Spider-Bots can find for him, whether it's anything from like a mugging to a robbery to texting while driving. He goes out and stops. But his spree ends when he gets a phone call from Anna Marie, who's worried about how things sort of ended between her and Aunt May when they had their little brunch thing earlier that day. And of course, this makes Peter, who's really Otto, furious that someone dissed his lady. So he pretty much, and again, because he's possessed by the symbiote, I would say Otto is a lot more prone to anger and way more willing to snap at people rather than take a chill pill and calmly talk it over. He'll just go over and straight up yell at them. And pretty much as Peter makes his way over to see May about how they left things, and basically yell at her, Mary Jane also shows up to try to talk to Peter about the voicemail Carly left her. But ultimately, though, Spider-Man, the Venom symbiote reacts when it gets a call about another bank robbery. And when that happens and the symbiote activates, Mary Jane freaks out that Peter's reattached to the Venom symbiote again, and so Mary Jane makes an emergency phone call to the Avengers to let them know that Spider-Man's been possessed by the Venom symbiote again. And so the Avengers are pretty much called in with this issue to deal with this, and that's where the issue ends. Alright, Superior Spider-Man number 24, another great issue. I really like how Otto behaves, although really, like I said, whenever someone is possessed by the symbiote, they are a lot more short-tempered. They will pretty much go with anger as an instinct rather than, kind of taking a moment to just calm down and talk it like a mature person. They'll immediately snap to anger. Although, given the way Otto usually acts, this really isn't that much different. Okay, it's kind of a little different because he is willing to take it to a lot more level. Pretty much the way he yells at Aunt May, you know that right now this really isn't Peter Parker. Because even if Peter did get mad at Aunt May, there is no way he would pretty much say the things he says to her in this book. He doesn't say anything in particular, but just the overall tone of it. You know that this isn't Peter. And now everyone, I think, is going to start to notice that something's wrong with Peter. He's not the same. And that's the thing. And that's really the thing, though. Even though people have noticed changes with Peter, they've just been like, okay, so he's a little different. But now I think everyone's going to know, okay, he's like a completely different person. We're heading towards the moment where Otto's masquerade as Peter Parker is probably going to come to an end soon. Or at least people are going to start to realize that, this isn't the same Peter Parker we've known for years. This isn't the same Spider-Man we've known for years, okay? It's going to start to become, everyone's going to start to become more aware of that. I think that's where we're going to be heading, and when we get to Goblin War, which will be in a few months, which will be in, actually after next issue, Goblin War is going to start. That will be when we finally have the final nail on the coffin. And oh yeah, speaking of Goblin War, we still have a lot of that going on in this issue because the Goblin King injects Carly with the Goblin Serum, hoping that doing that, she'll finally talk about what she knows about Spider-Man. And also back to Venom. Also, what has Flash Thompson been doing? Well, he's been getting checked out after the symbiote's left his body, and apparently, if the symbiote's not and apparently because of the chemicals he's been taking to kind of keep the symbiote in check, if he's not reattached to the symbiote within a couple of hours, he's gonna die. But ultimately, yeah, Superior Spider-Man number 4, very great book. I did like how, I found it kind of funny how we've got like a big hulked out Venomized Superior Spider-Man going off and just like grabbing a guy out of his car, telling him like, "Don't text while drive." That was kind of a funny moment for this book. But yeah, overall, Superior Spider-Man number 4, again, one of my favorite comic book titles. This was a very nice issue. If you're a fan of Venom, I would say pick up the story arc, Darkest Hours. If you can't get the single issues, then get the trade. Also, this is going to be the last story arc before Goblin War, so I would say, so if you haven't been reading Superior Spider-Man, you've heard a lot of good things about it, start after the next issue, which will be Next issue will be the conclusion to Darkest Hours. Then we're finally going to move into Goblin War, which I'm so excited for. I cannot wait to see it. Can't wait to start reading that. It's going to be amazing. Yes, but overall, Superior Spider-Man, definitely buy. Okay, that's it for me this week. Thank you for watching my comic review. Again, sorry this review is so long. I've pretty much caught up with 2 weeks of comics here. I hope you liked it. If you did, click like, share, whatever. You really don't have to do any of that. But thank you for watching my videos. I really appreciate each and every view I get. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. That means a lot to me, though. That means, you know, you want more of me, so very happy that some people do like my reviews. Yeah, overall, thanks for everything. Thanks to you for watching all my videos. Thanks for watching this video. Comic question. Comic question for the week. Yeah, what has been your favorite comic of 2013 thus far? Okay. Yeah, comic question off the top of my head. What has been this year? What has been a new comic that you picked up this year that you've started reading and you thought, oh man, this is so... Like, what has been your favorite comic of 2013 so far? Comment below. Thank you again. Thanks for watching and subscribe to my channel. I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying happy holidays.